Ever wondered how a traumatic event can change a person's life forever? Let's delve into the world of trauma, a word we often hear. But do we truly understand what it means? At its core, trauma is an emotional response to a terrible event. But it's not just about the initial shock or disbelief. It's about the emotional ripples that extend far beyond the incident itself. It's about the invisible wounds that can alter a person's perception of the world, themselves, and others. You see, trauma isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of experience. It varies from person to person, and so does its impact. It can be silent, creeping into the mind unnoticed, or it can be loud, creating a storm of emotions that's hard to ignore. Now, there are three main types of trauma that we need to understand: acute, chronic, and complex trauma. Acute trauma results from a single distressing event. Think of it like a lightning strike. It's sudden, it's intense, and it can leave a lasting mark. Then there's chronic trauma, which happens when a person is exposed to multiple traumatic events over a long period. It's like a relentless storm that never seems to end, battering the person's emotional well-being over and over again. And lastly, we have complex trauma, which is experienced when multiple traumatic events, often of an invasive interpersonal nature, occur within specific contexts and relationships. It's like being trapped in a maze of distress where every turn seems to lead to another traumatic experience. Each of these types of trauma can have a profound impact on a person's life, affecting their mental, emotional, and even physical well-being. They can lead to feelings of helplessness, fear, and detachment, and can even manifest in physical symptoms like insomnia, fatigue, and chronic pain. Understanding trauma is about recognizing these invisible wounds and acknowledging their weight. It's about realizing that trauma isn't just a fleeting moment. It can leave imprints on the mind, often leading to long-term effects. Imagine being in a car accident and how that single event can shake your world. This is the essence of acute trauma, an intense response to a single, stressful, or dangerous event. It's like a lightning bolt of distress striking unexpectedly and leaving a vivid mark. Acute trauma can stem from various incidents: a sudden loss, a natural disaster, or even witnessing a violent act. These events can trigger a range of emotional, physical, and psychological responses. You might experience flashbacks, reliving the traumatic event over and over in your mind, or you could have nightmares, your sleep haunted by the echoes of the incident. Anxiety may creep into your day-to-day life, making routine tasks seem daunting. The impact of acute trauma is not just emotional. It can disrupt your sense of safety, making the world around you suddenly feel threatening and unpredictable. But remember, acute trauma can disrupt one's sense of safety, making the world seem like a dangerous place. Picture living in a war-torn region where danger lurks around every corner. This is a glimpse of what it might feel like to experience chronic trauma. Unlike acute trauma, which is a response to a single distressing event, chronic trauma is born out of prolonged exposure to multiple traumatic incidents. It's akin to a nightmare that refuses to end. The nature of chronic trauma is insidious. It's like a slow poison, seeping into the very fabric of a person's life, gradually eroding their sense of security and well-being. This can manifest in a multitude of ways, from chronic anxiety to unshakable depression. But perhaps the most well-known impact of chronic trauma is post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. Characterized by intrusive memories, emotional numbness, and even physical symptoms like insomnia, PTSD is a heavy burden to bear, a constant reminder of the traumas faced. Chronic trauma can leave one feeling emotionally drained with a constant sense of dread. It's a journey that no one should have to walk alone. Consider growing up in an abusive household, where fear is a constant companion. This is a glimpse into the world of complex trauma, a type of trauma that emerges from repeated exposure to multiple traumatic events, often within the context of an interpersonal relationship. Unlike acute or chronic trauma, complex trauma isn't about one horrifying event or a long-term stressful situation. It's about a series of incidents, often involving someone close, creating a lasting impact that's hard to shake off. And the effects? They can be devastating. People dealing with complex trauma often find themselves wrestling with difficulties in relationships, grappling with emotional regulation, and struggling with their self-concept. Imagine feeling like you're walking on a tightrope. With every relationship a potential fall, every emotion a gust of wind threatening your balance, and your self-concept a shaky safety net below. Complex trauma can distort one's sense of self and others, making trust a difficult thing to establish. So is there a way to lighten the heavy burden of trauma? The answer is a resounding yes. Although the journey may be long and arduous, it's absolutely possible to navigate the path to healing. One of the most crucial steps in this journey is seeking professional help. Therapists and psychologists who specialize in trauma can provide the tools and guidance necessary to work through traumatic experiences. They can help you understand your reactions, develop coping strategies, and begin to rebuild your sense of safety and control. Among the various therapeutic approaches, cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, often plays a pivotal role. This therapy helps individuals understand how their thoughts and feelings influence their behaviors. By challenging and changing unhelpful cognitive distortions and behaviors, CBT can effectively manage problems and improve emotional regulation. Then there's eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, or EMDR, a unique interactive psychotherapy technique used to relieve psychological stress. It's particularly effective for those who have experienced traumatic events. This therapy shows that the mind can heal from psychological trauma much as the body recovers from physical trauma. Another essential form of therapy is trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy. This intervention helps individuals and their families understand and manage the effects of trauma. By learning new skills to handle distressing thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, individuals can begin to heal and regain control of their lives. But professional help is just one piece of the puzzle. The support of loved ones and community resources is equally important. Having a strong support system can provide comfort, reduce feelings of isolation, and foster resilience. Community resources, such as support groups, can also offer a sense of belonging and shared understanding. While trauma can leave deep scars, remember, healing is possible. It's a journey that requires patience, courage, and support, but it's a journey worth taking. And as you embark on this path, know that you're not alone. There are resources and people ready to help every step of the way. And please, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to support us.